Hello, Buckeye Nation. Well, that was fun. The Buckeyes put on a show this weekend with their 11 touchdowns and 77-21 win over Toledo. It was exactly the type of win that we've been expecting from them all season. And it was nice to see the production continue from the second, third, fourth, and yes, even sometimes the fifth man up when they were on the field. We'll get into that and more after the intro. Welcome to Buckeye Football Fangirl. If this is your first time here, my name is Lisa, and I'm the gal behind this channel. Thank you all for tuning in. We're heading into Game 4, and can I just say, it's been so much fun chatting with all of you in the comment section and on Twitter. What a game. I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed that beatdown this last Saturday. I know, Toledo is a MAC school, but the narrative going into that game was that they were supposed to be the best MAC school this year, and perhaps the best team the Buckeyes have faced yet. I believed it. Some of you believed it too. And to their credit, they scored the most out of anyone the Buckeyes have played so far with their 3 touchdowns. After trading a touchdown for a touchdown in the first 2 drives of the game, I thought we were going to be in for an offensive slugfest the rest of the night. However, despite the defense giving up a few explosive plays, they started shutting down more than they let slip by, allowing the Buckeye offense to take over the game, which proved to be too much for Toledo to keep up with. I personally feel like this game was the game that we all needed to see as fans before we head into the meatier parts of the schedule. What did you think of the Toledo game? Have you been riding on the high like I have ever since the weekend and seeing the Buckeyes dominate on the field? Or are you a bit more chill about things? Cause you know it was just a MAC school that they beat. Leave me a comment below with your thoughts, because I want to hear them. Besides loving any chance that I get to see these Buckeyes show off on the field, there were 3 things that happened during the Toledo game that helped put some of my earlier anxieties to rest. The first being that the offense was freaking fantastic on Saturday. In honor of the almost record-breaking 762 yards, I wanted to take a moment to shout out everyone who scored one of the 11 touchdowns during the game. And first up, Trevion Henderson led the charge with the first trip into the end zone before unfortunately missing the rest of the game due to an unknown injury. Thoughts and prayers to a speedy recovery for him. Marvin Harrison Jr. was next with a mind-boggling catch and a double toe tap. He was then followed by Emeka Egbuka, then Julian Fleming, who we all loved seeing score. Marvin Harrison Jr. found the end zone again with another crazy toe tap, and then Julian Fleming again. Next in was Mitch Rossi, who created quite a stir on Twitter with his fullback touchdown. Emeka Egbuka found the end zone again, and then Dallin Hayden, who looks to be just as much of a beast as Mayan and Trey, ran it in. Next up was Jaden Ballard, who showed off some fast speed. And last, but especially not least, TC Caffey, who looked like he should have gone down in a pile of tackles around the 45-yard line, but instead bounced out and ran through 2 attempted tacklers and into the end zone. Wow. Just wow. As Z Rich tweeted, that was an offensive clinic by the Buckeyes. What a game. We lucky fans got to see Zone 6 and Tote Nation show up and show out. There have been a ton of eyes on the weapons that the Buckeyes have in the wide receiver room, but I'm getting the feeling the running backs room is just as strong and loaded. I mean, we saw basically the 5th player in the rotation, who was a walk-on, power his way around a pile of defenders through the arms of 2 others who tried to tackle him and into the end zone in the 4th quarter. Come on, that's not even fair to Toledo. When TC Caffey scored, many in Buckeye Nation had a similar reaction as Sports Thought tweeted. Who in the flying French toast sticks is Caffey? I had to look him up too, and I have to say it was great to see the ball spread around between so many different players. That brings me to the second thing that I was relieved to see. The Buckeyes truly seemed to be playing as a team. This started with CJ Stroud spreading the ball around to so many players this past weekend. Besides who I mentioned above, there were plenty of players that didn't find the end zone but still had impressive games. Cade Stover and Mayan Williams each played huge, and it continues with the fact that all those playmakers that I mentioned above would not have had their moment to shine without others executing their roles. The offensive line was crucial in opening up running lanes for the backs and in holding off Toledo's defense from getting to CJ while the wide receivers were running their routes. And in the third quarter, when the starters began coming out of the game, the next in line stepped right up and kept making plays. I talked a lot about the offense, but the defense held up their end too. We got to see a few defensive turnovers with Steele Chambers snagging the ball out of the air on an interception and Jean-Baptiste forcing a fumble that Neote Ote jumped on to recover. And with all the light shining on the offense and the defense, it's easy to miss out on the fantastic special teams punt that Jesse Mirko made. A punt doesn't get much more perfect than landing on the 1 yard line before bouncing out. However, let's circle back around to the D again, because that's probably my biggest anxiety relief of all. The defense still looks better than last year. Now, there have been some cracks that have come to the surface since the Notre Dame game. However, now that we're 3 games in, the improvement year over year is obvious to me. The team as a whole feels more balanced, and I am so happy that I don't have to spend the entire defensive series holding my breath and peeking through my fingers due to missed tackles and blown assignments. Now, granted, is the defense perfect? No way. Not even close, but look, they are better. And I'm happy with the improvements that we've seen thus far, knowing that they will continue to build on these throughout the year. Not to mention, the lack of penalties during this game was a huge relief. Now, I know a lot of you still think that the Ohio State defense looks like doggy doo-doo. I couldn't help but see all of your tweets on Twitter. However, perhaps my expectations are just rock bottom low, but I'm not expecting a perfect performance. I just want a unit that can make enough stops that the offense doesn't have to put up 77 points to win. And that's the defense that we have right now. I really liked Ohio State Football Talk's tweet about the game and thought that it summed things up pretty well. Casuals will think Toledo was just another bum team that Ohio State should beat up on, but in reality, they're solid. I think our defense has played well and gave up just a couple big plays. Our offense is back in rhythm. Things are looking good. Sure, in the end, Toledo is a MAC school, and Ohio State was never supposed to struggle with them. However, Finn ended up much more athletic than anticipated and did throw some curveballs that had to be answered. And I think that game provided exactly what they needed before moving into conference play against Wisconsin next weekend, which we'll get into in just a minute. As Jeff Grubb tweeted, Ohio State needed a clear-cut win like this before we open up Big Ten play next week. On to winning part 1 of the mission. Winning the Big Ten. The game this weekend is going to be a fun night game against Wisconsin. All of you fans who will be there in the shoe, I hope you have an absolutely amazing time. Don't forget to wear black for the blackout and be loud. Ohio State should be wearing their alternate black unis, which will look so dope. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Wisconsin. The history of the Ohio State-Wisconsin matchup swings heavily in Ohio State's favor, with Ohio State winning 61 of their previous matchups, and Wisconsin winning 18, and there being 5 ties. So far this season, Wisconsin is 2-1. They shut out Illinois State in their opener, 38-0, before falling in week 2 to Washington State 17-14. Then last week, they crushed New Mexico State 66-7. The Badgers are led by head coach Paul Chryst, and let me tell you, he is a Wisconsin Badger through and through. He was born in Madison, Wisconsin, and was the son of a football coach. He attended the University of Wisconsin and was a 2-time football letter winner at quarterback and tight end. He has a long coaching history and has put in time at West Virginia, Illinois State, Oregon State, and the University of Pittsburgh, among others, before landing as head coach at Wisconsin in December of 2014. Let's look at who's on this team, starting with Graham Mertz, who is back for another year as the starting quarterback. You might remember all the hype that surrounded him after he started his first game in 2020 as a redshirt freshman. He was hailed as the savior that would take the Badgers where they wanted to go, all the way to the national championship game. In fact, we owe him a thank you for leading his team to victory over TTUN back in 2020. However, despite being the best passing prospect Wisconsin has ever signed, Mertz has failed to live up to the high expectations put on him by the Badger fan base. Not only that, but you all might also remember another infamous moment in Graham Mertz's life in 2020. The moment that he shattered the Mayo Bowl trophy after winning that bowl game. Yep, that was him, folks. Mertz is a pocket passer with a career average completion percentage of 62%, and out of the 83 rushing attempts has only netted 14 yards. According to hearsay, because I haven't actually watched Mertz play yet this year, his play this year has seen improvement over last year. Wisconsin podcasters seem pretty happy with his play. However, there have been slip-ups by the rest of the team when it mattered most, leading to one of the reasons that the Badgers are currently sitting at 2-1, when things are going well for them. Running back Braylon Allen helps Mertz carry the offense and open up the field. Like a typical Wisconsin offense, they love pounding the ball down the field, and Allen plays a key role in this. The Badgers currently have 9 rushing touchdowns to their 6 passing touchdowns. Many say Allen is the best running back in the nation. And I must say, he is pretty good. He's racked up 332 yards so far this season. He's also earned himself the nickname Man-Child and has broken one record already this year. During the Illinois State opener, he broke the longest run in Wisconsin football history with a 96-yard jaunt down the field and into the end zone. When it comes to moving the ball, though, through the air, Chimere Dike and Skylar Bell seem to be Mertz's favorite wide receivers this year, followed by tight end Clay Cundiff. If Mertz's good play continues, we'll likely see him target these 3 often on Saturday. Let's talk for a moment about Wisconsin's defense. Yes, Wisconsin has historically been known for having a stout defense year after year. They were, in fact, the number 1 ranked defense last year in total defense, not Georgia. So far this year, their defense is ranked number 11 in total defense. Their passing yards allowed currently clocks in at number 19, and their rushing defense is currently ranked 13th. So yeah, this weekend should give our offense quite a good test. On defense, the team is led in tackles by linebacker Muma Jongmeta, with 19 total tackles. Linebacker Nick Herbig has been absolutely disruptive thus far, logging 4 sacks for a total of 40 sack yards. That's just for this year. And it's good to note he also led the team in sacks last year. All I have to say is please keep him away from CJ Stroud. Safety John Torchio and linebacker Jordan Turner have also been making an impact with 11 and 10 tackles respectively, and they each have logged 1 sack as well. Torchio also boasts a pick 6, which didn't come easy for him. He had to run that one back 100 yards for a touchdown. Nose tackle Keanu Benton is one of their key playmakers when stopping the run, so we will have to see how our backs fare against him on Saturday. As we head into Big Ten play this weekend, as long as Wisconsin's 2022 team shows up, and not the 2021 one, Wisconsin should be able to give us the best test the Buckeyes have faced so far this season. How do you predict this game will go down? Am I crazy for thinking Wisconsin will give us the best test so far? Or do you think the Buckeye offense will cruise right down the field while the D renders Mertz ineffective? Leave me a comment below to let me know how you see this game on Saturday playing out. And bonus points if you also leave a fun fact about any game watching traditions that you have. One more final note. It's interesting to see that last year, Wisconsin's losses came in games where Mertz had to throw the ball frequently. Or in other words, they weren't able to get the run game going. This makes me think that if the Buckeye D can stop Allen in the run, which we've seen evidence already of this year, I feel pretty confident the offense will be able to put enough points on the board and the Buckeyes will bring home the win this weekend. I don't expect it to be a piece of cake game or a blowout by any means, but I'm not nearly as nervous heading into this game. Let's all enjoy Game 4 of this football season as we cheer our beloved Buckeyes on to victory. All of you who will be in the shoe, you better be loud. And again, don't forget to wear black this weekend. All right, that's all I've got for you this week. I'll catch you on the other side of the game.